All right. All right. In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I want to see in your presentations for your business concept and your revenue estimates. You're going to see basically, I expect the first part of your presentation to cover your concept and your assumptions. You see that I'm using the same slides that I used in describing my concept and my assumptions to you for my project. I know that normally you would not necessarily have created those yet, just as part of doing the revenue calculations, but you are going to need to create them. So it's going to need to cover the business need. It's going to need to cover the solution. And you want to be able to talk about how that addresses the business need. And then you're going to need to address your general assumptions related to customers. You're going to need to discuss price and kind of how all that gets put together. And then you're going to need to have your revenue assumptions. Okay. And I prefer that you show these to me graphically as opposed to trying to cut and paste a spreadsheet. As a matter of fact, I'm going to require that. Quite frankly, it's too hard to represent the numbers in a spreadsheet, and then it's very hard for people to read them from a presentation on a screen often, and so this is just the preferred way to do it. Hopefully you know how to do these charts. If not, I'm going to just show you real quickly. I've already created them in Excel, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. So I've created a tab in my workbook that I will be doing my project in, all of my forecasting in, that's called charts. And it's a nice thing to do so that you can kind of organize everything together. And the first thing I'm going to do is insert a bar chart. I know that on the Mac versus the Excel side, those don't always look the same, but the concept is similar. So then I'm going to select to add the data. I'm going to add a series, and I will call that revenue year one. And then I need to go get my Y values, so that's the vertical axis values, and those will be the actual revenue numbers. And I will start that out from month 0 and continue it on out to month 12. So I've just highlighted that. And then I need the what's going to go on the horizontal axis. I'm just going to put the months in there. You can see they are in row 1. So I've got month 0 through M12. Same columns. So I'm just going to change the rows that are referenced from the Y values to the X values. Real quick, easy way of doing that. And I now have a chart. Now, since I only have one series on this chart, I don't really like to use all this white space for a repetitive legend. So I'm going to go remove the legend. That spreads everything out. Okay, and then I will do this exact same thing. Go back to charts, create a chart. I'm going to do the exact same thing for years 2 through 10. All right, so select, add, revenue, years 2 through 10. And I just need to go grab the data from a different set of columns, right, that reflect my year 2 through 10 forecasts. So that's column P through X. Again, I'm going to copy and then paste this same reference and just change the rows from 28 to 1 so that I get the Y 2 through 10 in there. I hit OK. And now I have that. And once again, I am going to go to the chart layout and get rid of the legend. And so there you go. So those are my charts, which I can then copy and paste into the presentation. When you do that, what I'm expecting, the reason that I want to see the monthly ones are for the first year, are that's where your assumptions about how your business ramps up will show up. That's where your assumptions about any sort of monthly seasonality and how your sales might go from year to year are going to show up. Whereas the year 2 through 10, you're going to obviously see some expect to see some growth because of the inflation. You may also see some shape because of other assumptions you've made about that maybe it'll take your business 2 or 3 years to fully ramp up, or that you may add a second location or expand in some way, somewhere down the road. And so there's a lot of different reasons why you may have a different shape in years 2 through 10. They should be reflected in your assumptions that you've covered, and then I want to be able to see this. Now, it's important for me to see this so that I know that your project's on track, since this is the first set of forecasts that you're doing. I want to start early and make sure that the revenue is right. From the broader class standpoint, I guess it's worthwhile noting right now, you guys have a final paper due, each of you individually. And in that final paper, you will be responsible for reviewing all of the projects that are presented for this class, all of the concepts, and all of the presentations and analysis that's done, and offer your own opinion on which of those should or should not be considered for investment and why. And also ranking them in terms of, imagine that as a company we just didn't have enough cash to do all of them, or we couldn't raise enough cash to do all of them. Which ones would you prefer be pursued first versus next, and so forth. So it is very important that you each individually start developing a journal on each of the projects that are presented, so that you, as each one's presented, you'll see the revenue information and you can write your notes about that. Then you'll see the cost information, you can write your notes about that. You'll see the risk information, you can write your notes about that. Then the cost of capital, and then of course sort of the final capital budgeting analysis. And so you're going to want to start a journal on each of those and keep track of it yourself. And each of you will be responsible for that to support your final paper. So you want to think in terms of if when you put your presentation together for your project, don't just think in terms of what you want to say. Think in terms of what you would want to know about other people's concept in order to be able to properly document that so that you can make your evaluation by the end. All right. That's all I have on this. Good luck. I look forward to seeing your presentations in class.